Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party, and it is Saturday, the 18th of July. I think it's going to be a hot one today. It's very humid now, but I don't know what the temperature is. It's probably like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. Here we go. We're working on this. It looks like we are 4 layers deep into this code, and I definitely need to acknowledge that during um, the unit test time will be the time to probably break this one out into its own, break this function here. So this is what's known as an anonymous function. It doesn't have a name or anything. It just gets created in here. And I would rather it not be an anonymous function because anonymous functions are more difficult to test, or at least for me, they're more difficult to like sort of mentally picture what's going on. So we are down at this level. I know I'm going to get a list of meshes, and what I want to do is find out if any of the meshes match um, the mesh ID that was passed in. And if it does, then what we want to do is we want to um, add it to we want to add the group itself, its ID, to the list of ST groups. Um, wonder if so. I don't think a group would ever have the same mesh twice. Maybe though. I don't know. That one I just can't. I may want have that use case where I'm like, oh, this mesh is here. Yeah, I don't know. This exact mesh instance. That's gonna be weird. Anyways, so that's pretty straightforward. The one thing that I don't want to do is well, I don't know if it even matters, but yeah, that's what got me down that whole mental rabbit hole that I was just in. Um, I do not think the same mesh ID would ever be in the same group. So, and it is funny because like this for each is you can't break out of it. As far as my understanding is, there's no way to break out of a for each. And I remember like in the 90s, like in whatever we didn't have PRs yet, but whatever in reviews and stuff, that was always a common thing. It's just like, oh, you need to break out if you find it. And then all these new JavaScript array features came out, and then it wasn't reasonable to not, to do that. But anyways, yeah. So basically, I want to say if that. Oh, we want to now. Oh, that's right. Now we want to iterate over all of the meshes, the mesh numbers that we have. Now, technically, I think what we could do is we could use like a find on the array. Um, and I don't really know exactly how to do that. I mean, you can do something along the line. I believe it's like this. Const found. Let's try to do it by hand. Um, found st. That is so interesting. So these are like where I used to go all the time. I used to go check Daily Mail, Fox News, CNN, and LinkedIn. I would always make sure to do that. I don't think I've been to a single one of those pages in 3 weeks. I remember when I used to go to those pages 10 times a day, and now in three, like, oh, I do go to DreamHost, like to manage my account. Um, Man, that is so wild. But I do go to YouTube a lot. I spend a lot of time watching and listening to YouTube videos. But man, it is just completely wiped out all 4 of these, all 5 of these. It's weird. ST meshes. And I think dot find. Now the thing with find is you have to give it a function. Um, and that function can be difficult too. And I don't even know, is this better? Probably, yeah, this is probably better. Actually, yeah, so this one would probably be better to call a function that does the find, right? But so anyways, we're going to get a stid, and this is going to be a mesh, st mesh id. And that is kind of important because it's going to be like, this is a good place to get really confused because we're inside of the group service. So, but what we're looking at is meshes. And then with this, yeah, I'm going to leave it as, we don't, I think it's a one-liner, but it's st mesh id. Okay, so this is what you'll see sometimes called as shadowing, because this variable name is the same as that variable name. So in here, there's no way to like determine which mesh ID you're talking about. So we want to so this is our st test mesh ID, and basically we want to return st test mesh ID triple equals st mesh ID. Now, semicolon. You could also, you will often see something along the lines of this, which is a fully reasonable thing. The only reason I'm not doing that right now is because I'm pretty sure uh, I'm going to want to pull this whole thing out into its own little function. It'll just be a lot easier to do if I pull. I mean, really, it's going to be from here to here, all into its own little function. But and so over here we're going to say if, and I want to kind of make this a little bit easy, like more English. Mesh ID found. So basically, what I'm thinking is like now over here, I could say um, I can check, and I can say if mesh ID found. So I'm gonna say, hey, if mesh ID found, I mean, I could even add a was, right? I could say mesh ID was found. Right? So if mesh ID was found, then we're going to add it to our groups. Groups equals st group. Nope, wrong again. Dot push. And then st group dot st group ID. All right, so basically it isn't like perfect English or anything by any means, but it does read nice. It says if mesh ID was found, st groups push st group ID. So it would be nice to do that. So let's see. Let me pause this for 1 second. or sorry about that. That was my son. We're gonna go hiking here in a minute, and so we had to work it out. Um, anyway, so now we're pushing this to that. I wish this read a little bit better. It, yeah. Um, I try really hard. That is probably at the top of my things that I'm trying to do is do that. So now we checked the message, so we're done with this four. So four is the record. I just started doing this. So the idea with these checkboxes is that like as I'm doing work and I'm realizing, oh, okay, I need to go another area and do some other work, that I'll add a checkbox comment that goes away when I'm done with it. It's kind of like a to do. But the thing is I'll add an additional checkbox every time. Like if I'm doing this because I'm in the middle of some other task that I was doing, and now that caused this task. So at this point, so I started that earlier this week, and at this point, every checkbox is um, I mean, four is the record. I can't wait to see. I wouldn't be surprised if someday I'm like 12 deep or 13 deep. But anyway, so once we go all the way through this code, which, that could be a thing too, where like all this does is return that will probably be its own function actually. So I'll probably pull all this out into its own function, and who knows how deep this will end up going. But um, now we have our ST groups, and then that's what gets replaced. So actually, we are done even three deep. We just finished. So you see how fast that happened? It was just like we're just working along, doing stuff, minding our own business, just doing task by task, and then suddenly it's just done out of nowhere. It doesn't have like oh, we're 10% done, 20% done. It's just like we're working, 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 done. And I just can't see the telltale time signs of how close we are to being done. But this is done, so that means we want to find the double. It was easy to find the triple, and I know we have a single up here, but somewhere we have a double. So we have two doubles in mesh service. I guess we should save this. We have two doubles in mesh service, and a, it's kind of weird that it's finding. Oh, yeah, it's not. So this is for two of these. So, all right, so we can get rid of this one. So get groups for mesh ID is done. And now here's our other double. Here's our double. That's the one that it says, hey, we need to get the group IDs. So that is done. And that makes sense, like that I would have to finish this function before I could use it. So I named it something different though. I think I pluraled this one. All right. All right, so we're done with this one, but we still have more work to do. I almost feel like I need to. So this was a unique situation because when I finished the other ones, I was done. But see, this one, when I finish this, I'm not done. I'm not ready to go back to the one. I need to go back. So it's almost like I need to do like the purple one. I tried to do this at work in some C# code, and unfortunately, when Visual Studio, not Visual Studio Code, but Visual Studio, um, continue. So that's sort of my shorthand way of telling myself, hey, when I get through here, oh, but Visual Studio did not like these encoded things. So I guess that makes sense. And that might be the reason why we don't actually can't do emoticons at work because it might gum up some of the CI/CD stuff. I don't know. I don't have any visibility into that, but it, I could see that being a problem in the enterprise. Bow show. List. All right, so this was just comment, and then this was other scenes. So this needs to be other groups, and this is our next checkbox, and it is a double. So just to give myself a little help there, because that's probably, and this is all group IDs. And this is going to be scene group ID value, or ST group ID value. Is that it? Okay, yeah. So all this does is check to see. That's actually a lot. I think this is other groups, plural. And we want ST group. So this was another shadowing situation. It's not equal to ST. It's because we were shadowed up to the one on line 110. That was down there. All right. So actually we don't need this one, but hopefully put it into the, but I need it here in a second. All right. So then should delete. And this one is done. And again, I just has other scenes. Okay, so that was supposed to be have other groups. So here, where we have our double, let's comment that about. Okay. Actually, even that. Okay, so normally, like, if this was going to be complicated, but this should be has other groups. I think it's going to be easy. I don't know. Change that to group IDs. It's not necessary, but makes it a little less confusing for people in the future. And I did not spell it correctly. And then actually, okay, so then, so I was wrong. Groups, other groups. And I think all of this is very clear to me. But it is weird because I don't have any. Okay, so that needs to be delete group. Let me get rid of that extra. And it's ST group ID. So we want to delete the group if it's not being used. Oh no. Okay, actually, I was wrong. Ooh, that was a close one. Okay, we want to delete the mesh if it has another, if it's not being used in other groups. And then has other groups, which is just an array. Not this has other groups. This is weird. Okay. I don't even know. This, all we're doing is doing that. I don't, that is weird. Okay, so here we actually do that exact thing. So whatever we got on should delete, that's what we're pretending. Maybe it would be better to return this should delete, like whether it actually deleted something, but for now I'm just going to leave it this way. Delete mesh for scene ID. Okay, I don't even think we need this function anymore. Well, gosh darn it. Okay, I messed up. I messed it up real bad. Okay, so let's do this. We need that has other scenes to come back because okay, so that's good. Oh, we need it to be has other scenes. Yeah. Okay. So now that's fixed. But we need an additional control S has other groups. So it's like, and this one is, it basically a zombie, right? It like has other scenes. We just need it to work right now, but it's not going to be like we want to remove the whole concept of meshes inside of scenes. So it doesn't have long for this world, but it is absolutely necessary for this world to keep working. Because all of this, we don't actually even use any of this code. We don't even know if any of this code is going to work. All right, so it has other groups, and then other groups. I mean, I can see, at this point, I just cannot see why we'd want anything other than a group on there. So if it doesn't on there, so but like if we ever did want scenes and groups, then we'd have to actually check other scenes and other groups. We might decide that at the end, and I don't think I wanted this line anymore. Um, I'm guessing wherever I copied it from, or actually I didn't copy. This is the mesh, so I didn't copy it. That comment probably should have been gone. Um, all right, so that's done. So now the only thing left is here. So that was good because we know we took care of all these. So delete groups for that. And that just is right. So, and we know we don't keep those, so that's gone. So right now we have no to-dos. All right. So this service. Okay, so that just told it. It doesn't actually care about anything. It just says, hey, by the way, we think you should delete this group, this mesh. Um, and this is why, because we're deleting this. And now it's going to check. So now we're going to remove this. Where are we? We are in the group. Okay, so remove the group. And so I'm guessing I can just change this to group. So I actually did all of that so I could I think I was going to ask ChatGPT um, how to use one of the like the find in our JavaScript arrays, and I didn't, and it needed to do this. Okay, this scene service. Ah, I think this works just like that. I think we've already created the ThreeJS group service because um, delete by group. Okay, so let's do this. I'm just going to copy this from up here. Delete. All right. I don't think there's any notes I need to. Um, um, there does not seem to be delete group. Oh, we know that's got to be group ID. I wonder if that was the problem. Actually, that might have been the problem. No. All right. So that's for tomorrow. Happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.